Hello everyone, welcome to Monday Musings with Max.
And I'm Marcus. Hello, hello, hello. Hope you're all doing very well today.
So everyone in the chat, first question, are we in the same room or not?
You never know.
Answers on a postcard. But yes, good to see everyone in. We've got a couple people there in the chat already. Hello, Intelligent Mr. Toad.
Hello,
Tip
hello,
my hat,
hello.
of course. Stumpy, nice to have you along. Stumpy again. So, Sir Wyoming?
Why oh me, I possibly?
Yeah, because we're in a slightly different space, Marcus can't currently see the chat. I can, so I can't read, so...
Yeah, he just spells out, he describes the sigils.
Wyoming, definitely Wyoming.
He describes the sigils he sees and I decode them.
Yeah, so
we've been friends for a long time.
Yeah. But yes, nothing particularly to look at today. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to get a hold of the sprues. All the sprues are already going down to packing, the ones that we've got, because we've got a lot to pack. We've got, obviously, the start sets and the main boxes, so we were told we're not allowed. But we do know about the British in Normandy in general.
Yes.
We know quite a bit about bolt action.
A little.
At some point, we're going to be talking bolt action army lists, because next week we are playing a game with these Brits.
We are indeed.
And that'll be against Germans.
It will.
So I think we're going to try and make a list live for both of us, which should be fun.
Yeah.
We're also going to be talking a little bit about what's on the sprue, but we haven't got too much. Probably going to save that idea back when we've got availability of the sprues, because we're going to be getting those later down the line. So yeah.
We've got everyone's favourite Hobby Corner as well.
Hobby Corner, yes, we've got quite a few for Hobby Corner. I actually need to go back in.
It's been a little while since we've done those.
Decrypt those, because they're all zipped at the moment.
And we'll also got a few other bits about what's coming up for the future for us, which is really cool. A couple of sneak previews there. And also just a little word on the FAQ for bolt action, because noticed a few people were quite interested in that, it seems, weren't they?
Interesting's a word.
Anyway, it certainly is a word, isn't it? And it's one of the words that we're allowed to use. But no, so I mean, the first thing is these new Brits, the take-up on them has been absolutely awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we are seeing them flying off the shelves before they've even been put on the shelves. We have got deliveries coming in, pretty regularly, big deliveries from our supplier of the sprues ready to go in for an April release.
Well, it's been a good start to the year overall as well, because it's similar to the American Civil War.
Yeah.
Both have been selling really well. Nice to see people getting excited for both of those.
Yes.
So I can see why as well.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
American Civil War stuff, that kind of blindsided me. I wasn't fully expecting that to happen when it did, or at least I obviously knew before the release date for anyone watching. But it was something when it came in the office. I was like, we're doing epic scale now.
Yeah.
It's way small, but it's different. And then
We've never done that.
The take up from the community has been really positive. So I was kind of surprised by that one. I was not surprised by the British infantry. That's been overwhelming. Lots of pre-orders and a lot of people saying that they want to do new armies.
Absolutely.
I might join them.
I will be.
I've only bought 7 models this year. My pledge to try and work through the backlog's going very well.
How many have you painted, actually? Do you keep a number?
Ballpark figure, about 30.
That's not bad going, considering as we're only, 40-odd days into the year?
Yeah, from different ranges, so that's SPQR, Mythic, Warhammer, and a couple other things. Painting some mods and sods for Bolt Action and Frostgrave, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good going. But I say, I'm definitely going to be jumping in on the new Brits. And I'm not going to be using them as Brits.
No, you're going to be using them as Italians?
Italians, yes. Kind of wanted to touch on, actually.
Yeah, let's move into the first topic then.
Yeah.
Because we've got that written down on a piece of paper, which means it's official.
We do. See, piece of paper here.
Saving the trees. We didn't bother printing it out, we just drew it on a post-it note.
Yeah, we're an artisanal podcast. Very DIY. It's got that punk ethos.
Well, we don't tune our instruments.
We don't tune our instruments and we'll all go insane when we hit 50.
50?
Right.
Hedging your bets.
But between us, we're nearly 50. God, between us, we're 50.
We're already 50 if you add us up, but fortunately we are not one being. That's only how the audience perceives us.
But
the audience who knows us, and those cursed individuals have enough trouble.
They do. This is getting out of hand now. There are 2 of them, firmly applies. Now, one of the things that we have written down on our list of things to talk about today is simply new Brits, many uses. And yeah, that sprue is, on the face of it, pretty simple. It makes late war British infantry.
British and Commonwealth.
British and Commonwealth infantry, absolutely.
So obviously we've got the Tam O'Shanter. It's the only optional head. But I think there's 5 heads and like 15 helmets. Or, like,
Yeah.
I think it's between 10 and 15. I don't know the specific.
There's a whole
15 helmets that you're going to throw on top of them.
Which I really like, actually. You know, it's with our Germans and things, we go for head on helmet, or helmet on head rather, moulded on.
I think it's a weird choice. I'm very surprised to see it come back. I thought that was an old-ism, if that makes sense.
I like it. Do you know why?
Why?
You look at pictures of British Tommies and Commonwealth troops, and they're
skew.
always at a wonky angle, right? They're always.
But I do think it's weird because if you think about it, there's only 2 ranges that I can think of off the top of my head that the core plastics are like that.
Pike and shot.
Pike and shot English Civil War, or originally made for English Civil War, and the British. I think it's something about the British. They need their hat options.
Yeah.
I also think, you know what I think it is weirdly very good for?
What?
Weird take, but really good for conversions.
Oh, it does suddenly bare heads with a variety of military.
That's what I was about to say. If you want to do...
I'm looking at for my Germans.
Yeah, right? Because, if you wanted to do a British K-47 force, and you had a devious idea go through your head, what if they were all wearing Mauryan helmets from our English Civil War range? Or, sorry,
Marion.
No, 30 Years War range, specifically.
Yeah.
The Marians with the big peaks, or the ones with the feathers if they're Imperial, or Swedish, or something like that. Suddenly, pop them on, and you've created a really wacky-looking semi-sci-fi fantasy kind of unit.
That's really cool. I like
that's
that.
got proper kicks. They still got Bren guns and stuff, or all sorts of things, because there's other places that sell helmets too.
There are.
I'd want to do something like a Horse Guards helmet.
I mean, one thing I'm doing is I'm doing with mine. I'm doing 4th Bersaglieri Regiment, Goito, which I think is a city somewhere in Italy. And they were the one when the Italian army, fractured, and some of them went and formed the Italian co-belligerent army with the Allies. They had one Bersaglieri battalion, and that was 4th Goito.
That's cool.
They had full British kit. So it was British rifles, British small arms, full British BD and equipment.
Yeah.
But the one thing they had was the famous Bersaglieri Capliqué feathers in the side of the helmet.
Yeah.
And I found Anvil, actually. Anvil Industries do top knots for their not Space Marines. And not Imperial Guard. And if you want Bersaglieri...
They're definitely Orcs.
Yes. And if you want Bersaglieri top knots, they're not Imperial Guard.
We can say Imperial Guard. That's ours now.
Oh, it is, isn't it? Yes.
They call it something else now, so we can call it that when we want.
Yeah, they lost that fight. They
lost it with history.
Yeah.
Do that.
The human scale top knots, because I think like 250 and they come 10 on a sprue, 5 of them are a bit small, the other 5 are perfect. You just shave off the kind of the standy up top knot bit, and you've got a really nice Capliqué looking feathers thing. So that's the only thing I'm going to do to make them look different, is that, because it's all that needs to happen. And I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth into that and getting my hands on the sprues.
Would you build it all out of British kits, or did they have any Italian holdout equipment kind of thing?
I've not seen... There's not a lot of evidence that I can find, or documentation that I can find visually on them. The best that I've seen in terms of a representation is an Osprey book. Obviously, Osprey's a good starter, but they're not a research tool. They are very much Wikipedia in terms of the information they provide. Yeah. But they're a really good jumping off point and a really good visualization because the artwork's stunning.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm just going to jump in chat a little bit.
Yeah. But
hey, we didn't say hi to Gargoyles or Conradton.
Hello,
hey
Gargoyles.
Guys, nice to see you guys in. So Haggard, they're saying people want some. Come on, sorry, the chat's just froze. People want more soldiers. I'm surprised almost everyone sticks to 28. I'm not. I've dabbled a lot. I do a lot of 172. 172 has its advantages, but 28, it's the right balance of. This model isn't huge, so I'm painting it for a week, and I'm getting sick of it by the time I put on the second coat. And it's also not too small and fiddly, because I don't want to do that all the time. I do that enough when I'm painting faces. So I think 28's the perfect butter zone. I think there's a reason it's taken over. But 15mm for gameplay-wise, that was epic scale for gameplay-wise,
that was the point I was going to make, is that from a gameplay perspective, you can absolutely make an argument for smaller scales than 28mm being potentially better for different fields of games. But from a painters and modelers perspective, 28mm is the king. Yeah. It's the perfect balance.
And there's exceptions to that. Because obviously, 135 is almost better for tanks, in my opinion. But that depends what you're doing. Again,
Yeah.
you've got that scale issue because you might not have the room because 135 tanks, unless you're doing like an L3 tank head, are pretty beefy. So again, it's important to have a nice variety, which is why I actually kind of like some of our kits. Some of our kits are, block, track, turret, gun. And that's it, it's 4 parts. But you look at some of our ones that we've made in conjunction with Italieri.
Yeah.
Like the new M5 kit. I've not actually put that together, but looking at it, I might actually build one this tonight, that'd be fun. Looking at that, there's a ton of options, and it's that scratches that modelling itch without being an enormous kit. So there's a place for all of it.
I kind of found actually very similar, exactly right what you said with our vehicles. Something like our Panzer IV, the FGH. That goes together so nicely, but there's just enough bits on there that are a little bit fiddly. You want to break the tweezers out for a couple of bits. I get the same kind of satisfaction as I would from building, like a Tamiya or a Revel or, an Edward or something insane like that.
Yeah.
Without having to spend 5 years on it and have pulled out all of my hair.
Bought the kit, then bought the brass edge.
Yeah.
Then bought the rubber upgrade kit.
Then bought
the proper tracks. Then bought the decals.
And then cast my own resin bits for it.
It's a kit. It's very nice.
Yeah, I like self-contained.
We got quite a lot in the chat, so I'm going to rattle it on. Hey, not Davy Crockett. Nice to see you. I don't know if I remember the name, so good to see you along. Talking about swapping heads. So not just swapping heads, because I believe that was when you were talking about the Capicalia helmets. Yeah. So what Marcus is doing, he's putting the feathers on the British sprues because that's how they were dressed during that part of the campaign. Super weird, doesn't look right, but is accurate despite that.
I've actually got my first test model for that done, which is just a forward artillery observer, because I know I'm going to have one because I'm playing Brits. And he actually looks it looks right. It looks pretty good.
Yeah. I just mean it looks wrong.
Yeah.
Knowing history, it's like it's an Italian thing with a British thing.
I think it looks really cool.
I mean, it looks fantastic. I've seen the artwork only, but it. The mind's eye kind of goes, that can't be right.
It's not British, but
it's like seeing a king tiger in like Africa core colours. You're like, that's cool, but that can't be right. No, but it is actually real. So, like I say, we got a lot in the chat. So, barreling through. I have a question for the new British Canadian models. This is from Not David Crockett. Would the rolled up sleeves of the 8th Army plastics fit on the new torso? I'm wanting to make a Brit force for Sicily/Italy, who picture show mostly wearing battle dress trousers, and I think someone else asked basically the same question. I'm going to roll these in. So the Rice Hill, howdy, first time viewer.
Hello.
Hi, good to have you along.
Yeah,
glad to see we're getting some extra reach.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very nice to see. First time viewer here. I'm not sure if it would be terribly accurate, but have you guys thought of possibly combining the new British infantry with the 8th Army Commonwealth kit to make Far East or Italian game? So I'm going to roll those together.
Yeah, because that's one we kind of wanted to discuss anyway.
Yeah.
We have it on the list.
In a nutshell, absolutely, yes. So I've seen people doing this with the existing kits, where people were making like regulars in Burma, for example. So you've got the trousers from a Commonwealth kit. It's a pretty big conversion job, but as an example with the old one, this would definitely apply with the new kits, which are now even more detailed for the benefit. The trousers, also the shorts specifically from the 8th Army kit, and the top from the old British kit.
That's a waist sword job.
So you could do something like that. If you want to choose the head changes, because you get extra heads in there. So obviously you've got your Sikh and Hindu, I believe it is in Commonwealth.
Sikh, Hindu, Muslim.
Do you have Muslim in there as well?
I believe so, yeah. I believe that's... I can't remember which...
It's turbans and...
There's two kinds...
I'm sure we don't do Muslims. I'm not sure.
I do apologise if I get any of the terminology wrong here. Headdress isn't really my thing. But there's a couple of times of what to the naked eye look like a turban. There's also one that's very recognisably Sikh. I can never remember the proper name.
It's the one with a slight point to it.
Yes, I believe so. I can never remember the name for it, so I do apologise.
You could do something with those, but
the neck size is universal, pretty much on most of our kits. So
basically, I think there's some old exceptions. In cross range, that doesn't apply, but bolt action, it's all peg kind of style because we used to have the separate head system.
Yes.
Now as we kind of move the range towards plastic as much as possible, not a confirmation of everything in plastic. it's a goal.
Eventually, yeah.
Because everyone's got their opinion on what they want next, and it seems that everyone is Finns or Italians at the moment, and I agree.
Or French. Well, we've got a friend who's painting up a massive French army very slowly, and I think it'd be hilarious if he got them finished, and then we did plastic French.
I don't think he'd mind.
No, buy more.
So I have tried. This is again not David Crockett. Tried putting the 8th Army arms on the old British late war infantry, but the arms don't fit. So I think they would. There might be a couple cut and shuts because they're not It's basically because they all come to a point. It's
Yeah.
normally 2 hands on a rifle, for example.
It's
Um,
shoulder
it's
width.
not a guarantee that they'll fit. Because I've noticed even within kits, there's some arms that don't play ball with
Yeah.
some bodies kind of thing. Everything's possible with the miracle of green stuff, super glue and plastic glue and time.
The analogy...
But if you're willing to put in the effort, it would A, look really good, and B, be possible. And just before you get on, I'm going to ask a question to the chat, 'cause a couple of people are asking, have you thought of any conversions you want to do? Someone's asking that. I'm really curious to see.
I mean, the analogy I'd use is I've done a ton of stuff with my late war SS army, where I'm using 4 different German kits in that army. I'm using our complete range of German kits except Blitzkrieg.
Yeah. My chair seems to have escaped.
In that army. I was wondering what you were doing there.
Yeah, no, I accidentally nudged the move on my thing and I just suddenly bolted upward.
And I found that you can make at least some arms from all of our modern kits fit some torsos on all the other kits. And if you can't, and if they don't just fit naturally, again, as Max says, a little bit of green stuff, doesn't need to be massive amounts, and a cloth at the shoulder joint is basically the easiest thing to sculpt.
Yeah, which because I had to cut and shut my Africa core to get the metal arms from the Pioneer kit on there.
Yeah,
and it was a fight, but it
works.
worked.
The good thing with the metal arms, you just bend them.
A lot of the equipment, though.
True, yeah.
It's like the guy with the hockey stick.
Yeah.
His bent horribly before I had to resculpt it a little bit.
I actually the backpacks, because I used them on my my Germans, my Pioneers, which were mostly winter and SS kits. I got 2 2p coins, and where they were too wide, just put them in and viced the backpack open a little bit. And that worked quite nicely. I was sat there going, "Yes, I am engineer now.
That's
I understand levers and moments of force."
Sure. Haggard there confirmed plastic Chinese gorillas. Not necessarily. Maybe. A lot of people have been asking for a Chinese lately.
I wonder how good they are on the tabletop. We need to sit down and make some lists.
We'll get there. You watch.
Get ready for the next FAQ.
This is from David Crockett again. Or not David Crockett. Plastics are great, guys, but I love my metal Italians and early war French. It's always the thing. People always ask for plastics, and when we announce it, they go, I wanted more metals.
Yeah.
You can never keep everyone happy. I agree. I actually really like metal models. I know you're kind of against me on that one. I love the feel of a metal model. I've
always found metal models more difficult to paint. I have no idea why. I think possibly it's the way they're cast. You end up with more nooks and crannies. Yeah. On a plastic model, they tend to be a bit more open. I've always found them a little bit more frustrating to paint. But I think once they're on the table, they can look absolutely just as good. Yeah. And in terms of assembly, normally it's, an absolute doddle, head on, maybe 2 arms on the base, done.
What, for plastics?
No, for metals, normally. For metal.
If it's a big kit,
metal
it's a different story.
My point being.
No. Oh, yeah.
For big kits, I'm absolutely a plastic guy.
I just flash back into the Bofors gun. You ever built one of those?
No.
They're a treat.
There's a reason I don't have them.
They're good. They're not like, a lot of people have given that kit flack over the years. I built 2 a little while ago. Biggest problem I found is because they're quite spindly in real life. Actually, in real life, they're big chunky poles, but when you scale it down, there's a lot of framework effectively. So a lot of your joins are going to be really small, and it's kind of a pain in the butt to
get them to
pin it.
Yeah,
you can't pin it either.
Yeah.
So I found that the Bofors gun went together fine.
Didn't stay.
It's breaking as I've been working on it.
Yeah.
It's a project. It's one I need to finish, to be fair. I've not got round to it.
Did you find it more of a challenge than the Plastic 88, which is one of the other guns that a lot of people are like, oh god, it's terrifying?
No, I cheated on that one.
Oh, you got one off Derek as well,
Yeah, I got a 148 one from the studio.
Yeah, same.
The studio built it. I think it was a test run for our...
It was a test shot, yeah.
Yeah, it was literally not in proper plastic. It was in... like quasi 3D printed. I don't actually know the mechanics behind it, but it was made in not quite plastic. And it was built just to test how the sprue fits all together, and they did a build through. We didn't actually want it because they obviously needed to paint it in 156 and nobody wanted it. I was like, who wants sprue? And I'm like, I actually kind of need one for my Africa core.
I've got one.
So my it's just a tiny bit too big. But you never know it's on the tabletop, and it's so no, I've never had to build one. But I've heard those are a pain in the butt.
The one that always people say is, the Puma. I find the Puma suspension really relaxing to build. Because I think I've built 3 or 4 of them now. And literally, once you know how it goes, it looks really intimidating on the instructions. There's loads of little bits and loads of little holes, and it's like 4 holes per wheel bogey. But then once you've done it once,
it's mechanical and it's not physically hard to do. It's hard to wrap your head around. But once you got it,
absolutely,
it's there.
Yeah, and you literally just pair of tweezers in, and it's almost. there is that, put the thing, put the peg in the hole
Yeah.
thing, like satisfaction to just going.
Just like Scherzen, which is easy, right? There's a reason you do late war and I do early war. I kind of looked at that and went, maybe the Africa calls for me.
Oh man, I'm waiting to get. I need to get hold of some brass mesh at some point, and make the Toma Scherzen, the super late war mesh Scherzen.
Bed frames.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I could do that for the T-34s. So.
They weren't. I didn't think they were very popular with the Soviets. So they were on for some of them. They had some photos taken.
They were around. It was mostly for the last pushes.
Yeah.
If you were up front, you'd get one of those. Because for city fighting, they were finding Panzerfaust jumping out. And it was after they got fielded that they realised they were functionally useless for a Panzerfaust.
Was it because the Panzerfaust was just enough kinetic energy to
Pretty
push
much,
through them and contact?
Yeah. The detonation wasn't happening away. It was slowing and then happening.
Yeah.
Marginal success, which I think is why they stayed on. It didn't really have much weight.
Yeah.
Other big thing is you see the Americans putting sandbags on. Didn't work, but if the crew thought it would work and it makes them act a little bit more confidently, it might mean they get the first shot instead of getting popped. So there's a psychological element, and I think it would look cool. I do have another T-34. So.
I mean, in fairness, with the sandbags, there was actually a lot of evidence to suggest it was genuinely detrimental.
Yeah, it blew the suspension.
It knackered the suspension. Same thing with concrete. Although the US Marines, I think, did find some success with the wood.
Yeah, basically spaced armour for the charges the Japanese were using because they were slightly different, wasn't it?
It was the Japanese magnetic mines that they were really worried about. And they're like, well...
those are the ones that we represent as the suicide teams. Where
yes,
it's like
the lunge mines and things like that. And they were like, well, if we, stand off, the lunge mine might not work as well. Yeah. And if it's made of wood, it's not going to be magnetic.
Basically,
they've got to try harder.
Rudimentary Zimmerit.
Absolutely.
Which is funny because the Soviets and the immediate European enemies never used magnetic mines.
No, the Germans
were so paranoid about it, they put it on anyway.
And then
they had the same issue because it was very heavy.
Yeah.
It did actually kind of knacker the suspension.
And then they got paranoid about it catching fire and took it all off, even though there was never any real evidence that it caught fire.
Zimmerit was an interesting solution.
Yeah.
It would have made far more sense for us or the Soviets to do it.
Absolutely.
Because the Germans actually had magnetic mines.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a lot of questions, so barreling on. We will get to some topics after a while.
Yes.
But we like to engage with the audience, of course.
Best bit about doing
So Stumpy's done, I think, everyone's favourite trick. Put German arms on Soviets and Americans to have looted weapons. Yeah, done the same thing. I've got quite a few of my, what are they called? Sturmgruppe. The Soviet storm group with like MP40s and stuff like that.
Nice.
Classic.
I mean, I've done the other one. I've done Winter Soviet bodies with Winter German arms and heads to make some of my Ostruppen. Not Ostruppen, Freikorps. Volkssturm. There we go.
Civilians.
Yes. Another word for armed civilians, please.
I mean, not David Crockett again. Another question. What is the timescale from conception of a new kit to design through to production? Is it a big task that takes a long time? First answer, depends on what you're making. I've heard a good kind of ballpark figure for something like these new Brits would be about 2 years. We don't work in production. We're definitely not studio. We are customer service, so we don't tend to see it. Having spoke with a couple of the guys in the studio and generally in conversation, I think it's about 2 years on average.
Yeah. Which
kind of goes from the moment we go, we need new Brits, or we need a different type of German, or we are going to do Italians, or Chinese guerrillas. It'll take about 2 years to go from actually sculpting it, tooling up's a big part of it.
Oh, yeah.
We don't make our plastics in-house, we use trade partners. Yeah. So we get a little bit of delay on that. So it does take a lot of time.
I mean, the other things going into it are, for example, even the really simple stuff, like designing the instruction leaflet, designing the box, the RTE, designing...
Which you can't really do until the models are done.
No, because you need to see...
So it's kind of, once you've got it, then you need to get a way to get studio doing it. So they're probably not building it out of the plastic kit, so you need to make masters
and
in
then
metal.
Cast them in metal.
And then let them build them out of... Like, cast them twice. Wants to build the models, wants to then do sprue layout, and then do it digitally. Tons of work, about 2 years. Some might take longer, and if it's a kit that's already existing, like, for example, like I said earlier, we work with Italieri quite a lot. If we're reworking a tank kit with those, might take a little bit. Yeah, it's still about a year.
It's still. I mean, interestingly, even with
it's much quicker compared.
Even with COVID, I first heard about the new plastic Brits about just after I started with the company, actually, and I've been here 2 years on Monday or 2 years on Sunday. So yeah, that's about that tallies because I heard we were doing new plastic Brits about 2 years ago.
And it's so yeah. I haven't actually heard any rumours about what's next, but I think
have.
I've heard. Really?
Yeah, I remember John mentioned.
I could cover your camera and you could sign it, but I genuinely don't know. I've not heard any rumours.
No, I'll tell you afterwards.
I think I've heard something, but it's so rumour based. It might be off a Facebook thread, and I'm getting myself confused.
No, I'll tell you afterwards.
So again, barreling through because we've got a lot of questions coming through or comments. So I am talking about mix of resin and metal and plastic. There, all good for me. Completely agreed. I like a bit of everything. I like the plastic kits for modularity and changing it in light and easy. I also like resin just because they feel a bit more weighty in the hand. And I love a metal model.
And you can smash them together, the resin kits as well,
Oh,
really quickly.
So, JC292 put German para arms on my British paras so they could hold the German weapons. Again, classic.
Yeah.
I love a weapon swap. We sell metals with weapon swaps. We encourage people to do it.
And that's quite clever as well because the Fallschirmjäger Nocken sacks, I think they've got a cuff on them like the... not quite the same, but close
Enough that
to
you
the
can
Denisons.
paint it up kind of thing. It looks the same.
And that's really clever. That's a good way of getting more out of a kit. What have we got? See, chuckling there.
Yeah, Peffingford. Buffers for counter-mortar organisation, please. Indirect 40mm poning? I don't know.
Poning. It is poning.
Poning for sweet mortars.
Because Peffingford is from the early days of the internet
Yes.
when you were still allowed to say things like poning.
Well, I never did much online, so I'm not familiar with it. Online gaming, that is.
Yeah.
So, to pwn someone is not in my lexicon.
No, nor is Epic and For the Win.
That is. That was a tragic solo
sadly.
game, yeah.
FT dubs.
Haggard there. Good gesture off camera for that one. Also, trying to keep wings on Old King Leon Kerr Hippogriff model is a nightmare.
Oh.
Yes, a little bit of pain on metal models that get a bit too big.
More to the point,
Yeah,
I feel your pain because you played Bretonians and man, that's some serious neglect there.
Do you need a hug?
Yeah.
Everyone else who does.
buddy, I wish I could have played them, but...
So I own Puma is lovely. I've got 4.
Pumas are great, right?
You've got more than the German army ever did. Probably, actually.
Yeah. Classic.
Yeah. Right underneath that, of course, Marcus has built about 25% IRL Puma production.
I mean, just call my bedroom Krupp. So the amount of German armour I churn out.
And the Citizen NG working on the Sarissa trains.
Nice.
Says it's not fun, however. Haven't done much MDF. I've built paint racks.
I've done MDF. I've done MDF for terrain. I've never managed to kind of wrap my head around MDF. Almost as I mean, yes, the train's scenery, but as I can model it, I don't know why. It just seemed weird to me. I will do at some point because I'll run out.
Because you want to get a Sayu helicopter.
Yes, I do. Sumax.
I don't know. Is that how it's pronounced?
No, it's what I'm threatening to do to you. Yes, that's how it's pronounced.
I've never heard the word out loud as far as I can tell.
Like Susie Sue and the Banshees.
Hey, Gideon's picked up the 8th Army box and a Churchill.
Nice, good stuff.
Everyone always forgets that the Churchill was actually quite early war as well. So it's nice to see some repping for a Churchill 3. Because that's the only one you can make out of the box that's early enough to be Africa, I think.
Not sure. You'll actually... Peppingford, get in here.
Yeah, I think that's right. 1 and 2 would be the most appropriate, but we don't sell a 1 or 2.
Yeah.
Which is a shame. It's really cool.
I thought we used to do a resin one.
We don't sell is what I said. I haven't got a clue. Not David Crockett coming back to the kit making sounds like a huge task. Absolutely worth it though because like I say, I'm a big fan of metal models. I've got a lot in my collection, and there is something so convenient about making your base infantry out of your plastics. However,
absolutely,
it is so useful to just kind of go, cool, I've got this many parts, build the first sprue with pure creativity. Every model looks unique and different. And you go, cool, now I know what the bits do. Now I'm going to churn out the other 24, and then I've got my basic.
And you go, one box, no duplicates. You don't have to worry about anything. About he's a duplicate. I better paint him a little bit differently or something.
And also, Stig saying happy workiversary, Marcus.
That's so. Interestingly, it's on the 21st. My birthday's on the 22nd.
Yeah. So next week we are going to be playing a game, which we're going to be discussing.
Yes.
After I just clear up the questions here. We've only got a couple more, and then I'm going to let it slide for a little bit.
Yep.
Yes. So next week you will be playing on your birthday. So everyone bring him a cake.
Yeah. And Max is going to let me win, aren't you?
No.
Oh.
I might well lose this one because you're playing Brits and I'm playing Germans and it's late war Germans and I don't know how it works. And I don't actually know what we've got because I'm going to be borrowing the store army. So I'm not going to be running my Africa Corps to represent 44, 45 Normandy like Panzer layer. So
It's a beach. They got confused.
it's a beach. Bum, bum, bum.
Ugh.
Okay. Oh, there's still quite a few coming through. So
Oh, wow. Great engagement.
I'm gonna stop after Peppenford's last comment, just so we can actually get onto some topics when we pick up again. Drinks.
Keep them coming, folks. We aren't going to ignore you. This is just a nice big volume, which is really cool to see. We really appreciate it. Got a couple of beats we want to hit. We'll hit those, and then we'll pop back into the chat and keep talking. So, keep them coming through.
The Rice Hill there saying that he's got some PPSH 41s, I think, PPSH, off a friend to use in late war Gross Deutschland units for assault sections. Yep, they were keen on them. It's that funny thing of the Russians were like, we like the MP40 because it's well made, and the Germans were like, we like the PPSH 41 and 43.
Because it works.
PPS 43.
Yeah.
Because it's really durable and we can kind of just bash it around. So, funny how they swapped over.
Yeah, I mean, my lieutenant for my late war German army has a PPSH.
Okay, so we've got a long one here, so I'm going to take a sip of tea quickly. This is from Intelligent Mr. Toad.
Oh, here we go.
I might have to stop, and that's because it got explicit if I do. We do know Mr. Toad quite well, if you're wondering. Anyone else in chat why we're being so mean to
Yeah, we don't just abuse random customers, we abuse very specific customers.
I expected to get very explicit about halfway through here. Hi, Max. I dive in early with my question, and you may have missed it. As a Soviet player, I hope you can answer. Good evening, chaps. The Soviet extra selection rule for dog mines allows me to field up to 3 dog mine teams per selection in a platoon. Some Soviet platoons, such as Stalingrad, and in the Army's Soviet Union book, and some in the Stalingrad campaign, list 2 units per platoon. I read this that I can take 6 dog mine teams as such. Am I correct? Yes.
Yeah.
In a nutshell.
It's the same thing with American MMGs. You
wanted to take 6. There's actually a little bit of validity gameplay-wise, I think, to taking 6. That's 6 dice for like less than 200 points. That's unheard of. Dogmine teams are disgusting, especially in a tank war scenario.
Oh, God, yeah.
So it's for reference for anyone who's cheesing out there.
Models, so stick in the truck.
Universal carrier. Because you fire the dogs and you put the guys back in the universal carrier to get the extra brain gun. One of the tournament players out there, and yes, I was planning on running it last August. Then that tournament got canned.
Evil.
But yeah, that for reference is like 400 points for if you do it the way I was running it. You can get something stupid like 400 points for like 10 dice.
I mean, in fairness,
with a bunch of brain guns and armored carrier and yada yada yada.
It's no worse than not too much more horrible than my 5 heavy howitzers in a 15 dice list.
Yeah, I mean the rest of the army was 3 Stuarts and 2 Katyushas.
I'm glad that tournament got cancelled now.
Yeah, same. I would have made some enemies. So, back on the questions. So yeah, hope that clears it up. Intelligent.
Yes.
So yeah, those Stalingrad selectors we had 2 anti-tank selections. It means 6 for Soviets.
Yeah, because dog mines is...
Because also dirt cheap as well, most of their selections. Like, hell, take 6 Ampoulemets for all I care.
Oh, that reminds me, I need to get your birthday present.
Mm-hmm. Chop chop.
Gotta get me mine.
So, not David Crockett. How has the pandemic and lockdowns boosted your sales and community engagement? I owned 0 War Games model prior to April 2020, and now I have 2 armies on the go.
Good.
Yeah, you're not the only person who has said stuff like that. It's been really good. A lot of people who previously didn't have time or not the interest.
Yeah.
Had a lot of people pick it up. A lot of people who I've heard roughly the story. I used to do this a lot when I was a kid or a teenager.
Then
I went to uni and then I had a job and yada yada yada. Now there's a lot of times we've been seeing a lot of it. Sales have been pretty good. Some months better than others, but especially at the first bit of a lockdown when we first came open. Oh boy!
Oh yeah.
Bear in mind we had like some big pre-orders on there, so we had like Victory at Seas just coming in and in and in. So yeah, it's last year was a pretty good year, and the sales are doing pretty well. Community engagement's been good as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, our new social media person has started a couple of weeks ago, so it's been good to see Ella's new engagement on the like weekly posts and stuff. So if you've ever got anything you're working on that you're proud of, I think it's Mondays we do work in progress. Wednesday it's finished, basically, and it's forces. Yeah, so check out our Facebook either way. You see loads of good stuff. What staff are working on? I know I pop up there occasionally. Ella's been working on some Celts lately. You're working on your Vasalieri. Always some cool stuff there, so check it out. Did you see Alistair's diorama based on, I think it was a shell case?
No, it was on a gas mask
case. It was a gas mask case.
It was a German gas mask case with War Without Hate on top.
Fantastic.
And that was just...
Yeah, so Always worth checking us out.
He's a brand new staffer as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, only 23 as well. Everyone else needs to catch up.
Yeah, God, I feel old now.
God, he's younger than me and he's better. I can't deal with this. MDF ships from Sarissa for Haggard Day. Yeah, I'm assuming stuff like Sturmboat and things like that. Really cool kits, those ones. I've seen some people do some really fun stuff with them. And this is the last one I said before we do a brief cut-off so we can move on to some topics. And I'm going to have to go grab some army books.
No worries.
Churchill 3 for NA. North Africa. I was really confused then. Like, for nah. But I believe 1, 2 do crop up as HQ tanks down there. Would have to see. Some 3s were odds on 1/3 upgraded. Yeah, that makes sense. As of this was clear as mud once all the mods are added.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah,
I could have swore 1 and 2 was pretty big in North Africa.
Because Churchill 1 was with the.
I mean, they both had front howitzers.
Yeah, on the 75
and 2-pounders on the top.
Yeah,
they were weird Franken tanks.
Almost a Sharp B.
Yeah, kind of. Weren't very popular at first, from what I can tell.
Almost exactly a Sharp B, actually. Clearly same design school.
Right, if you want to talk briefly, I'm going to go grab 2 army books.
Yeah. So I can't see the chat here, folks. I'm just going to kind of waffle a little bit. One of the things I alluded to in the intro, is that there's a few interesting bits and bobs on the horizon for me and Max. We've done a couple of podcast appearances with various people in the past. We did Man Battle Stations, which was a really good naval wargaming podcast. We did that for Victory at Sea's launch and pre-launch. That was really fun. And we also did the Juggernauts big special anniversary episode, where we came on and really just they asked us some questions and had a bit of banter, and that was really fun. And we're in the works now.
I'm giving you this one, not the Armies of Germany.
We're in the works now in talking to a few more people about getting on some podcasts. We've got at least one lined up in the next few weeks, which is really exciting. Can't give any more details immediately. But one thing I would say is if you folks either have your own podcasts and want to chat to us, hit us up, let us know.
Yeah.
Or if you've got, podcasts about the hobby or wargaming that you really like, and for some strange reason you want to hear more of us, let them know. Give us a call. We are very amenable to.
One of our friends was recently on Al Murray's podcast.
He was.
Maybe we can get on that ourselves.
Yeah, where's our hit up for that? I'm just waiting until the BBC decide to interview us.
Yeah. So obviously next week we are playing 1K of Bolt Action.
Yes.
We're going to be using the old British because we haven't got a painted army, funnily enough, yet.
Yes.
So we're both going to be out of our comfort zones. So it's going to be an interesting one. It's going to be on one of the boards behind me there.
Yes.
The Normandy board, ever popular, very nice. Nice heavy terrain board as well, which always messes the game up beautifully. So what kind of thing are you thinking? You're the one that's taking the poster boys today or next week?
So I am probably thinking.
What tank? That's the important question.
Avery.
Oh no,
Churchill Avery.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Churchill Avery, because I reckon that you're probably going to go for quite an elite force with your late war Germans. So I want something that is dropping big, horrible, high pen blasts to just delete veteran units. Because I play small.
If the store has function yet.
Because I play obviously late war Germans, very small elite army, and I know exactly how deadly it is when you start getting units just getting waxed by those one shot and done. So Churchill Avery's in there straight away, and then after that, to be honest, I think I'm probably going to go down just a good old fashioned bog standard 2 or 3 units of regular infantry. Just to get in there.
Yep.
Possibly either not.
One Bren, one Sten kind of a deal?
It depends how the points scrub out. Because I've traditionally not been actually a big fan of LMGs in my infantry.
That's weird to me. Very weird to me.
But again, that's me coming out playing Germans, where I can give everyone assault rifles, if I want to.
You get the buffed LMGs as well. Like, that's what really surprised me, because I put them in my rifles.
In my Germans, if I'm going to run 2 LMGs in a squad, it'll be 2 LMGs on a late war squad in a 5-man squad. Because I don't want that many bodies sat at the back doing nothing in LMG range. I much prefer to have my squads all with 1 range, so that everything is. I've paid the points for the models. I want them all to be doing something every turn.
That's very weird to me because I go in for like I said, Russians are my core gameplay army kind of thing.
Yeah.
I like an LMG in there because, like, sure, some of the rifles might be out of range, but they're probably not because rifles are still healthy enough range for normal combat kind of thing. It's far easier to get the LMG in short range.
Yeah.
Just that. You get a couple extra things, basically guarantees a pin every turn, a couple extra shots. I think that's why they're worth it. I swear by LMGs, and I'm surprised the community doesn't. I think some people know something I don't. Some people have different play styles.
Yeah.
But it always surprises me how many people are down on LMGs, especially German players.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the things we get
Because they get
for
the
free.
buffed ones.
I think the other thing that I'm looking at putting in there...
Obviously, I use Africa Core as well, which means we don't get many MP40s. We don't get any STG 44s, so maybe that's also factors in for me.
You get to learn the joys of assault rifle heavy armies. They're great.
I probably won't take too many. I'll stick to roughly what I know.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing I'm going to put in there, I think, for definite, is going hard with my teams. My snipers, my mortars, my flamethrower.
Yeah.
Get that in there. I want a recce carrier in there as well. Because I think they're interesting. It's a universal carrier with machine gun.
Also, all I'm going to say on that is we will have to make sure that we've got them. Because we will be playing WYSIWYG.
I know what Nick... So I'm borrowing Ladle Monkey, Nick's army from our casting department. Also my housemate, also the third member of the tournament team. And I'm also... Whatever I can't get out of there, I'll supplement out of store.
Yeah.
And I know what Nick's got knocking around.
Has he got a recce carrier?
I think he's got a UC. And they're basically indistinguishable.
Okay.
Because basically it's just a UC that's being used for recce. And in game, it's represented slightly different, but it's just a UC. Possibly with an extra radio in the back, but Peppingford will be able to tell us all about that one. So yeah, that's kind of the vibe I'm going for there, is a big, powerful centrepiece. Hang on a minute, there's a theme here. A big, powerful centrepiece backed up by just kind of solid infantry. Because I know that probably one-on-one your infantry might be able to take mine. But if I've got enough to resist, and hopefully the Avery can get in and do the damage, and I've got bodies to get on objectives, then I'll be a happy man. We also don't know what scenario we're going to play, so...
True.
What about you? Because you've played a bit of Germans, but you've never played...
I play mid to early war Germans.
Yeah.
44, 43, because it's all Africa Corps. I go all the way to the back end of Tunisia. I really don't know. I'm tempted to just take a leaf out of your book and just go for Panzer IV. That comes from the same place where I write all my Soviet lists. I like to centre around a T-34-85.
Yeah, medium heavy.
Yeah. And the Panzer IV is a T-34-85, but better in literally every way because it gets potentially 2 more shots a tank, it's got 2 machine guns, and it has Tiger Fear, and people will love to complain about Tiger Fear, but it is still a literal free rule that makes it better than every other tank you can field. So I don't understand. Having never used it, I see it and I go, it's still better than my tanks.
Yeah, you still get a free thing.
So I think I'm going to be exploiting that, because it's a nice effective way to scare up some of your infantry, especially if I can keep it out of way of the Avery, which I think even though it's a bit more of an infantry smash, I'm pretty sure that thing could deal with a Panzer IV pretty handily.
The flying dustbin smacking into the side of
+5 can or something stupid like that? I think it's +4 because it's a 4-inch template, isn't it?
Yeah, it's heavy house.
Yeah, +4, but I'll still
and
give it a bad
you get
day.
a reroll on it as well.
Do you?
In the same way,
like concussion kind of
in the same way that the Sturm Tiger gets a reroll.
Ouch.
What do you do?
That's like a boatload of pins. It's like D6 on a hit.
So it's basically a heavy house.
So I'd want to avoid that or get the first shock, actually. Heavy AT gun. Past that, basically just infantry. I might split heavy, regular, and a couple veteran. I don't want to go all one. So possibly like some Fallschirmjäger adjoined. So like one squad of a few Fallschirmjäger, like 7, 8. All assault rifles and stuff like that. Your FG-42s.
Yeah.
Backed up with some core infantry. Pretty standard. 2 MMGs, or LMGs, sorry.
Yeah.
In the squad. And rifles. Hold you up. Do a little bit of manoeuvre. I don't know. Maybe a Puma. They always scare me whenever I play them.
I mean, the Puma...
Basically go infantry heavy-ish. Backed up with some hard tanks.
I've just realised the point, Max. You know, you're kind of thinking, oh, does store have this and that and the other?
Well, I know you've got.
You know what the list you've just described is? You just described my list.
No, because I want more infantry than yours.
Ah, yeah.
I want a lot more infantry than yours because I want to bulk it out with quite a lot of regular infantry, just doing what I'm used to them doing as Russians, but better because they got the MMGs.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're going to go MMG or LMG heavy in there?
Yeah, I really don't see why you wouldn't. With
that's
going
to be interesting to see
and stuff.
Because that's a style of Germans that I don't see a lot.
Yeah, because I tend to run hypermobile Germans.
Yeah,
everyone's in a truck.
Yours is all your
everyone's in a
Hanos,
251. Everyone's got wheels. Now that I kind of got that restriction going off, I'm like, cool, I don't have to waste points on the 2-5-1s, but we
Yeah.
can still double down on that long range. I make your guys go
Yeah.
away kind of machine gunnery, but also I'm dug in from the start and I'm not wasting points on Hanamags or using points, not necessarily wasting.
It'll be interesting to see as well, because obviously with your DAC you're really aggressive. With your Russians you're pretty damn aggressive as well.
Yeah, my new list has every infantry model has to have an AT grenade, and that's a new hill I'm dying on.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know where that's come
So
from.
it'll be interesting to see with this list, which almost seems a little bit more defensively geared.
Mhm.
Be interesting to see how
Absolutely.
you know how you're playing, because I normally play very defensively. You know, I'm that guy that refuses a flank and plays for the draw because it's the crutch.
You know what? I'm genuinely torn.
Okay.
I really am about taking a Navelwerfer or a Howling Cow. Because they're so good.
Do it.
Feels cheap.
42 points, mate. Do it.
So cheap.
In X Howling Cow, 42 points.
I've
done.
never liked playing against them because they're so freaking cheap. I don't like them.
Yeah, I mean that was the thing is for me going to a tournament. I'd never be without one.
Yeah,
because obviously you're going to a tournament, you're going to compete, you're playing to win. You know, unless there's a theme restriction, but for casual play, yeah, it's one of those where
they're cheap as hell. I don't like them.
It's one of those.
Plus, I do like medium artillery, just naked, vanilla artillery, hitting on a 3 at good range with no cover.
Yeah,
pop, take it off. Pop, take it off. Just about capable of anti-tank roll as well.
One of the things I found actually as well is the heavy mortar is really nasty when you're playing a veteran army. A small veteran army.
Yeah.
Heavy mortars are scary. Because again, they've got that bang, delete a unit ability.
Win on 2s, I think, again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Depends on kills on 2s on vets. And if you're running like 5, 6, 7 man squads, a 4-inch blast, if you're not careful, that's
true. Really, but yeah.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean.
But that's another thing. I've gone off mortars lately.
Really?
Yeah, I'm sick of mortars. For the points, you can get a light artillery piece. There you go. It's better in literally every way.
I'd rather have both. No,
yeah, but points.
I mean, that's me as a German.
How am I going to get all my anti-tank grenades in otherwise?
Oh yeah, of course, they're so important.
They really are. I'm going to die on this hill. My next tournament list is the most stripped out, basic-looking Soviet list, but I'm convinced I'm onto something. Because it looks like every Soviet
I'm always
list ever.
worried when Max does this. To be perfectly honest with you, because he'll say, "I think I've got an idea," and he'll go away, and he'll come back like a month later. They're like, firstly, this is painted to competition quality. These were on sprue a month ago. Secondly, how is any of this legal? This is filthy.
Not David Crockett. Is this the Moneyball approach to running bolt? Actually, yes.
Great
absolutely.
movie. Absolutely fantastic movie.
The thing is, I'm trying to go for a list that isn't pure cheese, because pure cheese always looks so boring. I hate seeing it on the tabletop. Oh, he's brought two flamethrowers and a multi-launcher, and he's got some things to throw on an objective. I want to sleep. This is trying to go that same level of I can run up and put in casualties and also play aggressive. I can really push it without relying on 2 flamethrowers. If the flamethrowers die, game over.
Yeah.
Unless you can get the objectives.
I mean, absolutely.
So I have no time for that kind of
two
list.
flamethrower lists. I've run them. I've had success.
Literally never run them.
I've had success with 2 flamethrower lists because to be honest, when they go off, it's hard not to. You know, but by the same token, my lists don't tend towards the hyper competitive.
Yeah.
Because of what I like, which is big tanks, and I don't like what I don't like, which is painting lots of infantry.
I think the last tournament I went to, I took a squad of partisans and a squad of Soviet scouts. I did quite well.
the last tournament,
but nobody should be taking that.
Tournament I went to, I took a Yag Panther, a veteran Yag Panther, came 5th overall in the tournament, and we won best team.
Nice.
Which I will take all day long. No, there is absolutely not David Crockett. You're right. There is a Moneyball or Math Hammer or call it what you will, and that is absolutely a valid way to play the game. You know, at the end of the day, it's your hobby. Play it however brings you the most joy, and it's, to be honest, it's exactly as valid as playing super themed and fluffy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just 2 sides of the same coin, and we do both. I think.
I think my issue is so many of these games are boring, and everyone takes the same list. So I always try to keep it fresh. And the current thing I'm testing is I'm convinced there's untapped potential in anti-tank grenades. They look too expensive. I've run the maths. I think I can just take a couple things out and get them on every squad, and suddenly every unit of infantry, and I take a lot of infantry. It's terrifying. So
I mean,
I'm onto something here, people.
It's interesting as well because you've raised the point there about some of those cookie cutter lists being quite boring to play. And I agree. And, we're both obviously we are 2/3 of the Warlord Games tournament team. For those that don't know, we go to tournaments up and down the country. Supposed to be going some overseas, but that fell apart thanks to COVID. And we typically, be upfront. We don't pay to be there because we bring prize support. We're there. We help publicise the stuff, but we don't pay ticket price.
No.
And I always feel, considering that I'm there for free, I want to bring a list that people enjoy playing and that's a bit different.
No comment.
Max brings a list that makes people weep. But in fairness...
That was because someone said we were allowed tank war, and I went, cool.
Yeah.
Gloves are off.
I mean, in fairness, the lists we were both going to take for Scottish Nationals were absolute filth. They were absolutely evil.
Anyway, people have heard about that in a previous episode.
Yes.
So I just want to catch up a little bit on chat.
Go.
So,
Feed me questions that I can't see. I'm missing you all, to be honest, in chat. I'm used to seeing all the stuff pop up on my sidebar, and I feel alone. I feel cold.
You need to get like a phone or something. You can just flick through.
A phone?
Yeah.
Oh, but then people would be able to call me, Max, outside of work.
Tablet.
And you know that
Laptop,
outside of work, I enter a comatose state and am plugged into a fridge.
Yeah, Easy Army isn't a stick, so
Yeah.
someone else will have to pass that one on. Conradson, have you seen the new Ventress model from Workshop? Yeah, it looked like every other Marine.
His boots look silly. Actually, I could say he looked like every other Marine, but his boots look really stupid.
I've never cared for Space Marines, so skip.
It was a cool character in the fluff, but...
Take your word for it, those seem the same to me, Marines. Any news on upcoming Dread miniatures? Nothing that we can say on the stream.
Yeah. Which should tell you something in and of itself.
So, yeah, there's more Dread coming soon. I don't know when soon is, but soon.
It's alright. It's just because Carl Urban rang us up and shouted at us. Of course, him being Dread's biggest proponent. Max just turning on the power to make sure.
You plugged it in, but you didn't turn it on at the wall.
Outstanding.
I was like, hang on a minute, it's already plugged in. So David Crockett, not actually played any bolt action yet. Yeah, a lot of people have picked it up over the
absolutely.
last couple months. So I think it's going to be really good for the club scene when people come back because new blood's always good.
And
people bring in new ideas, people bring in new armies.
Yeah.
And messes with the meta locally, which means everyone gets a more interesting game. And the more people, as always, the merrier.
And everyone's going to have new armies. It's not going to be that same army that you've been playing for 2 years.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to come back with at least new units. I know, even I am, and I am literally the world's slowest and laziest painter.
I'm going to come back with technically a new army.
How many new armies?
Well,
since your last
the
game...
GIs are the only whole new army so far.
Yeah, so far.
Do you count the whole new Soviet army?
Yes,
because that still comes under the same one. Right?
But that's a whole new army.
4,000 points. Lady Cadence, who are you people? I'm Max.
I'm Marcus. Hello.
So we are a customer service team on Warlord Games.
Yes.
We know some things, and we talk bolt action today, and we talk other games soon.
Yeah. So that is a very brief resume of who we are. I was gonna go with we're two dwarves from the mythical island of Albion.
Yes, that also works.
One bearded, one unbearded.
Yeah, so they're people who have taken over the office and the webcams. Yeah, they let us in every Monday. I don't think the company knows, but they leave uniforms around, so it feels official.
Max says they leave uniforms around. The guy who took that off is tied up in the next room.
Yeah, he said his name was Charlie or Carl.
Yeah, I forget which.
First time we went in, it was back in like May.
Yeah.
It's just kind of become a tradition at this point. I think they're into it.
Yeah, it's a whole thing.
Yeah, Stumpy, I think this was when we were talking about the thing. British heavy terrain, let's see an Avery.
I'm bringing an Avery, believe it.
I think I saw that one in chat. You did say it before you'd called it as well, but yeah, the right idea there, I think, because that's going to be hard to get the Panzer IV to bear.
And the other thing as well is it's a heavy tank. I think Avery may even be a super heavy.
I think it's just heavy, but
Let's
it's got a big old gun. So yeah, sad one here from Conrad, and I saw this one when we were chatting. Sounds like a channel for wargaming, scenery making, things like that. They're out in Alicante. Alicante, called Scratch Attack. Their local has been assaulted this weekend. Their miniatures, tools, computer, and everything been nicked.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, really sorry to hear that one. In honesty,
Conradson, I know you and I have had a dialogue. Can you just ping us an email about that, mate, and just fill us in? give us the details, and I'll pass it on to a few folks around the office.
Yeah, no promises on that.
No promises. But if
that's really sad to hear.
Our guys in Spain, if we've got guys in Spain,
Yeah.
if they can offer any support, then obviously.
Because he goes on to say their channel was very special for the Spanish community, and like I say, that's a really tough one to take.
Absolutely,
that'd be the equivalent of something like, I don't know, the Juggernauts or us, kind of just disappearing for a couple of months. Hopefully they're back soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, never want to hear that.
No, it's never.
So,
it is a heavy tank as well.
Yeah, I thought. All around. Oh, God, that feels like the KB1 has that. It feels appropriate.
No, heavy tank, slow, heavy howitzer. But it can only fire at short range. It can't fire at long range, but that's kind of whatever. Not armoured all round though.
Huh. It's exclusive to the KV.
290mm petard mortar.
So I think Stig was mentioning this earlier, but I think I accidentally scrolled past the main thing. We are aware of the image glitch on the site at the moment. I think Web Team have been made aware, and we're looking at how to fix it.
Yeah.
I think this is one of those code bugs that we haven't done anything to turn it on. We've done something completely on the other side of the site, probably to do with pricing or something like that. For some reason the code has just spat this out. So for anyone who's not aware, on any product page, on one side we've got the image, and then underneath it we've got 4 images, for example. Not actually 4. And amount of image underneath. If you click on the bottom ones at the moment, it makes a new tab.
And then it blocks that.
The easiest fix at the moment is if you click on the main image and then use your scroll buttons, left and right buttons, to just go through like that. That's the easiest way to get around it. Or if you click on it, just Control W or close the tab.
Yeah.
So we're sorry about the inconvenience. We are looking into this one. Genuinely, no one seems to know what's happened. Gremlins. It's
that
Gremlins.
Is the magic of technology, unfortunately.
Church with the Canadian 75 for the Canadians. From Lady Cadence there. Yeah, I can believe it. It's got the big blast, a lot cheaper.
Let's have a look at that. I mean, it's in here. There is a Churchill with a 75.
And basically the same one that was put in the Sherman and the Cromwell, so it has the big HE as well. Very good for just clearing infantry. And it's a big old tank. So
the Churchill Mark, Churchill
it.
Mark 6, which is 265 points regular, 275 with the Mark 6.
Nice.
That's expensive, but not as expensive as the Avery, which is 290 regular. I might take it vet at 348.
So we've got comrades in there going on from the Spanish podcast point. Especialista podcast, friendly with Scratch Attack apparently, is interviewing Warlord Games Spain in a few days.
Oh, that'll be Danny Lorenzo out there.
There we go. So anyone out in Spain or who speaks Spanish, give that one a look.
Yeah,
sounds really fun.
Danny's a really good guy.
I don't even met Danny, but I'll take your word for him.
Yeah, he's a nice dude. He likes all the photos of planes I post on Facebook, and that makes him all right in my book.
Lady Cadence there, Fallschirmjägers in their army. Always at least one LMG. I believe it. I think they're good. Like I said, I swear by them.
So, question to throw back to Lady Cadence there. How many FG-42s? Because it's the iconic Fallschirmjäger weapon for me late war, but obviously they're assault rifles. There's a points cost in there. What else we got?
Yeah, let's try to go through. We might miss some tonight because the chat is crazy active, which is good.
Yeah, this is really good.
So I am going with German mechanised plus LMG to support infantry. Now I'm going to skip that because that's what I do with my Africa Corps. I want to try something a bit different with this list.
This might be the only list I've ever seen you take without an MMG max. I think the Russians don't have one, do they?
I don't take MMGs very much at all, mate.
Just your Americans on point of principle.
Yeah.
I think it's because they've got so many that the image of MMGs and you is burned into my mind.
So yeah, some people talking about heavy mortars, but I know a lot of people like them, but like I say, I'm super off mortars at the moment. I think they're way too expensive for the inaccuracy. Their ability to zone in is nice, but I don't rate them. I'm out. I keep going in and out on them.
He'll come back around. He'll come around.
But at the moment, I just think artillery is so much better for the points, and I'd rather put the rest into infantry. Or light cars, and into armoured cars. So
yes, armoured cars are cool.
Intelligent Mr. Toad, I've just cut myself lightly, in brackets, by accident, after laughing out loud about a still story that I told Lorenzo earlier.
Please be careful. Yeah, I'm glad that you're not seriously wounded. Take one pin and roll an order check before commenting again. The first casualty on screen that isn't a model.
Yeah, true.
It would be Mr. Toad as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Nick brings an abomination of an list so it pans out in the wash. Yeah. From Lavalus, Nick brings an abomination of a list so it all pans out in the wash.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Stumpy, we should throw a big tournament out in San Diego when COVID's over.
Oh,
To play about action.
mate, give me
Sounds good to me.
any excuse to get stateside. I know you're the same as well.
Yeah, definitely not drinking craft beer and going to the beach. Well, there's time after tournaments.
Yeah, exactly. Well, actually, one of my favourite things about going to tournaments is just getting to meet people that are involved in the community from the other side. You know, because we're involved in the community from the company side. And there's so many people out there, and plenty of them in this chat, who are movers and shakers that really drive the community and drive the scene from outside of the company. And it's nice to meet those people and just to meet everyday players and, hobbyists. Because we're all like-minded people. It's
And
nice
go
to
out
go...
drinking with them afterwards.
Exactly. I've got memories of Brighton. Not Brighton.
You definitely don't.
Where was it?
You
Southend.
definitely
Southend.
don't.
God, I knew it was down south.
Have you got any
Middlesbrough.
after 8 p.m? Yeah,
Yes,
no.
but none I can repeat on stream.
Will there be more releases for K47? I mean, Dyer needed something to do with the Matildas. Nothing off the top of my head, especially with the Matildas, but home ruling is a factor.
Yes.
For example, Sam's millions of rail rifle technology on
rail guns on everything.
Yeah. So you feel free to convert that as long as you get permission from your opponents and local scene. Feel free to put whatever you want. The Matildas, especially if it looks cool. K47 is so the forum to get wacky with stuff like that.
The thing for K47, obviously, we don't design K47 models. That's all our partners at Clockwork Goblin. So obviously it takes just a little bit longer because there's that extra step between them conceptualizing a model, them producing the basic sculpts and things, and then it's got to go to us and go into the production phase.
Yeah.
So kind of what we touched on earlier.
Apparently, this is from Conradson again. Ventress wears a white rose. Would it be fine to use as War of the Roses, General? Talk to your opponent.
Probably a little bit underpowered. I can see Edward IV taking him.
Yeah, definitely. Socialist Swan. I've been able to paint a whole Soviet and early war German army before lockdown. It took me 3 years to build a small force. Ain't that the truth? I managed to do about 1,500 points of Americans in 2 months. Yeah, early lockdown was something before I came back to work, and I feel you on that one. Good choice of arms too. Perfect pair. Mike, hey there. Nice to see you back in.
Yes.
I'm just shopping and exercising the new motor.
Is it solid mic or liquid mic?
Can't remember. Seven. Is that liquid?
Mike, are you solid mic or are you liquid mic? We need to know.
Lady Kate's got back to you on the question with the FG42s. V1 used to field all assault weapons. V2 now I take a few squads of assault rifles and SMGs for assaulting, and my fire support squads use rifles. Yeah, time and tested. If it's going up close, you give them SMGs or assault rifles if you can. You used to run that before you kind of fell out of the LMGs. Yeah,
it used to be my rifle squad. My LMGs would only ever have rifles because, why would I put an SMG in a squad that's never going to get close to anything? Or shouldn't be getting close to anything. But yeah, absolutely. That is the classic. Love to see it. I love to see the FG42 as well. Ian from Forgotten Weapons has a new video on the new Civi production semi-auto FG42s. There's a company that's making them. He's run one at 2-gun.
I've seen the 2-gun episode.
Yeah, he's done a breakdown. There was the episode 4.
Okay.
And his new one was on the Viper today, which was cool. The Viper Mark III.
You're not allowed to talk about that. You haven't got the right shirt on. Okay, Mike there. With what Max was saying about mortars, should I get a 75mm pack howitzer for the US Airborne? Yes. I mean, they're really good. I rate 75.
I agree yeah.
Whether it's the LAG-18, whether it's the ZIS-3, but kind of not, I don't know. We had a big discussion about the ZIS-3 earlier today in the office, and it's one of the best artillery pieces in the game. How much money? Only beaten by the British 25-pounder. Yes. It basically does the same thing, but way cheaper. Very good. Obviously, it's light, but you get the same howitzer first. Not David Crockett. Do you happen to know any good places to meet folks and learn in Central Scotland? Tournament might be nice beyond the moment. There's that group up in Stirling were they hosting or were they travelling to Stirling?
As I understand it, I think that was definitely the store that was hosting it, and I apologise, I can't remember the name of the place. However, there are a couple of blokes. There's Alistair, who's quite active on the Bolt Action Facebook page. He is
that Alistair Uni?
Yeah, he's one of the big tournament organisers in Scotland, and he'll know. Because we've actually never been north of the border professionally.
I have.
Oh, you
I
did.
went to Edinburgh.
You went to the Edinburgh show.
That was the
didn't
first thing I ever did with Warlord Games. Was
Got in a
they were
van
like,
with Tobias.
hey, do you want to be on the tournament team? I'm like, yes, I'm busy about when I was at Primark. I was like, I'm free on weekends. That sounds great. A little bit of extra money, get my foot in the door of the industry. Also got a staff discount. No, that definitely factored in.
Warlord is like a biker gang. We recruit like a biker gang. You've got to hang around for a little bit.
So I was like, yeah, let's go. And he was like, cool, I'll get back to you when we've got a show available. And I knew for a fact that like in the next month, the Warlord Open Day was going on. He's probably going to put me on for that one.
Yeah.
Because nice and local. If it doesn't work, you can just be like, yeah, okay. But there's no travel involved. It's probably going to be that one. He gets back to me within like a couple days, and he's like, in a week, do you want to come to Edinburgh? I'm like, oh my god. So yeah, I think my job interview happened like when I got the official place, like 3 months later to become full-time here. I think my actual job interview was 12 hours in a van with Tobias. It was basically going from strangers to mates. I think if I'd failed that personality check, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah, that's a
But it was a proper deep-end moment of just being like, so, I hope we get along, because it's going to be a long old van journey if we don't.
Yeah, how you doing, buddy? You like hockey?
I'd met Tobias, but we hadn't really spoke much.
Yeah.
So, nobody cares about that, I'm sure. But fun. But yeah, post up in the Bot Action Facebook page.
Main Bolt Action
I'm
Facebook
sure a bunch
page.
of people will jump on you and can be specific, but I'm sure there's a couple groups around.
There is also the store finder on our website. The store finder tab at the bottom of our website.
I can put up a quick link to
which, if you plug your postcode into there, it will show you all the stores within a whatever radius you want to set around your postcode. And by and large, if they're a gaming store that stocks us,
and that's just gone up in chat.
They're going to have some links, some ties to gaming groups. A lot of store owners are into it as well. They're gamers themselves. So that's going to be the best one, as well
as much as any store owner can be. It's that classic thing of you get really passionate and into it, and open a store and then never have a chance to play a game.
And then it becomes your job.
But they're good people, lifeblood of the community. Possibly Common Ground. I really couldn't say. All I know
Common Ground was the one.
Was it Common Ground? Yes. So yes, it is. And yeah. I see David Crockett trying to arrange a game for after lockdown. If anyone's over in Knots, I'm up for a game as well.
Same, absolutely.
Like we're available in normally on Wednesdays after things when things are back to normal. I'd actually love to get to know some of the community. It'd be good to get some pictures up on the.
If you want to challenge us, if you want to come and
natter. Don't challenge. Let's just have a casual game.
Okay, you've got to be challenged to a casual game. Max.
Okay, yeah, I'll be challenged.
It's not like they're going to come and slap you across the face with a glove and demand that you defend the honour of the company. Although that would be quite funny if someone did that. Someone should do that.
Do you know what we totally forgot?
What have we got?
We've got loads of images to show from Hobby Corner.
Oh, we do. God.
About 20 minutes to go before we're done tonight. I'm going to flash up a couple of images.
This has been absolute carnage. So I can't see these images. Normally I can.
I'll describe them for you.
Oh, please. This is going to be great. Don't describe them. Can you charades them? Can you act them?
No.
Aww.
So this is from... Which one are we bringing up here? Ah, yes. It's perfect coming off last week. So this is from Max Schreiber. Yes. Anyone who's in the Warlords of Error on Facebook will have seen these. Some really nice Native Americans.
Oh, yes.
Sorry, tribal...
I did see those. Yeah, tribal nations.
And they look great. So they're coming up on screen now for anyone looking. I love the bright colours on these ones. The whole thing really comes together. You create them incredibly fast for how good they look as well. I saw them in the work in progress. Obviously, if anyone wants to check out any of Matt's work, he's been posting them on the Warlords of Erewhon, Mythic America's Facebook page, so go check that out because he's posted some more stuff now. Loads of cool stuff coming out of that one, but I've got a couple images from his set here that I'm just going to show off for you guys now because they're really cool and appropriate considering what we talked about last week.
I was going to say, if you are interested in kind of Mythic Americas and what it is, check out Warlord Games' YouTube channel because last week we played a game of Mythic Americas, our first game of Mythic Americas, live on the stream. It was a draw because Max was merciful.
Keep it interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Now, all of these streams get uploaded to YouTube. Normally it's next day now, isn't it? Robin's got pretty good at getting them up by sort of the end of Tuesday.
Robin and I.
Max, you get all the credit. I wanted to make sure Robin knew that he was knew that he was loved.
Yeah, no. But we've got it down to an art.
Yeah.
They normally go up on Tuesday. So yeah, always good to check those out. And obviously, if anyone ever misses a stream, you know where to find us.
Yeah.
OMG.
What?
This image is massive. I didn't realise how big it was when I saved it. So this is from, let me get the names right. I think it's from, So Nick Games, spelled G-M.
Yes,
G-A-M-Z. And check him out on Instagram because he's got a load of stuff. I believe this is 30 Years War.
Okay.
That's upside down. I'm really sorry about that.
They're Australian.
I don't actually know how I can fix that on stream, so I'm just going to change. Wow, they've all saved upside down. Why has it done that?
Outstanding.
I have no idea because that's super unusual because they're saved up the right way, and obviously he displayed them correctly.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's OBS that's doing.
I don't
this
think
or
we've
what.
ever had that issue before, have we? It's not done that to us on stream.
That's really weird. Yeah, because now it's. Are they displaying any of them properly? Now, I am going to blame Instagram on that one.
Yep.
Apologies for that. So, all the more importance, go check out Nick Games on Instagram because unfortunately his images aren't displaying. I don't know if that's a save thing. They are saved upright, but whenever it goes into OBS, they're flipping or flipping upside down. Because even the profile shots where it's upright.
Yeah.
So you've got a guy standing that way. OBS is flipping them.
Outstanding.
I have no idea why it's doing that.
Yeah, that's got to be.
I've not changed the settings from the first set, so I think that's because I saved them off Instagram. I don't really know, but moving on. So this is from a regular customer, at least for customer services. This is Skip.
Yes.
Me and Robin have spoke to Skip a lot. I think you spoke to him less. He's
I have,
working on his Hougemont Waterloo.
Yes.
And it's looking fantastic.
How's his sandpit going? Because I know one of the first things you kind of helped him out with was some advice on getting sandpit done, wasn't it?
Couldn't be specific on that one because you're not including photos, but his central farmhouse is basically painted now.
Oh,
so
nice.
that's what's coming up now. I'll show you the pictures afterwards. And
Nice.
yeah, looking really good. He's got a really good grasp on the details within. The farmhouse, I'll make that a little bit bigger if I can. You can see he's got like the pond and stuff in there for everyone on the audience who's looking in. Really nice overall thing. That's going to be an absolute treat.
Nice.
Anyone who's been following this will have already known this, but for those who are newer, I think this is a 12x6 board. Yeah, and he's because obviously our Hougemont's quite big.
Yeah.
I think he's figured out that you can get about 30 King's German Legion in there.
Nice.
Very nice work. So I think we've got one more person for the. Yes, I love this guy's work. Wargame Terrains Mini. I think this is another one that you can find on Instagram. So that's wargame_terrain_minis.
Yep.
He did some really nice scenic work. Making trench lines. So I think this was for the Ardennes and also for use in a different World War One tabletop game.
Nice.
I'm just going to slide over so I'm way out of shot. If you want to come over and look, just have a look at that one up front. I adore that board.
Oh, that's fantastic. Because the resin effect on the resin water effect is absolutely cracking, and that looks really horrible. That looks properly disgusting.
Like a movie set, right?
Yeah.
If you want to go back.
What I really like, weirdly as well, is for a system, a setup like that. I quite like the clear bases on the figures.
Yeah, I'm
Nice
not always
and
sold
unobtrusive.
on clear bases, but sometimes they
For
really
a table like that, absolutely. Because you could do it.
So just for the audience, I'm going to bring up a couple other shots. If you
be a nightmare to try and get those to blend in all the right places. I think a clear base is a really simple and elegant solution there.
So yeah, as with all of these, I've given their names so you can check them out yourselves. They're all worth checking out on Instagram. I'm only getting a small selection here of what represents quite a big portfolio.
Yeah.
Always worth giving it a look. So that was Hobby Corner. We haven't done one of those in a couple of weeks because we've been busy with other stuff.
Yes.
So as always, if you have anything that you'd like to show off yourself, something that you're particularly proud of, something that you've been working on, send it through to info at Warlord Games. I'll get it saved and then I'll get it past them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, not a clue what happened with the.
That's really bizarre. We'll see if we can
stuff there. I really apologise to Nick if you're in chat because I don't know how that happened.
We'll see if we can get that sorted for next week. So, how's the chat doing? Because I know it's been...
Chat's pretty good, mostly just people responding to the images.
Not missed too much. Absolutely bonkers. You know what? It's actually really nice to see so much positive discussion on just general hobby stuff. You know, it's FAQ week here at Warlord.
Some people have got opinions.
Yeah, FAQ week is an interesting week for us in customer service because, yeah, a lot of opinions fly around. A lot of people wave their arms like the world's going to end. And then we know it all dies down again in a couple of weeks. But it's really nice to just have some good kind of positive hobby chat that just people putting the world to rights and cracking on with things we enjoy, which is toy soldiers.
And like I say, if anyone has any more armies, I always like showing off all armies.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm really annoyed. I've got some photos that were taken last week.
Oh,
Keep an eye on our YouTube. There's a video coming out soon.
nice.
It might be some of my work.
Oh, yes, I know what this is. I'm looking forward to
Keep
that.
an eye out for that one. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube, subscribe to it.
Yes.
Great. Because, yeah. Actually, while we're at it, just a little bit of a plug.
Yes.
Make sure to subscribe if you don't already to this channel. You'll be notified if there's any extra streams. Obviously, me and Marcus are always live on Monday at 6 o'clock. Sometimes a tiny bit late, but usually 6 o'clock. You'll always find it on Facebook. And where was I going? There might occasionally be other streams. If ever me and Marcus are painting, we own like the equipment. We can just put some other ones out. Done that once or twice. Also, no guarantees on this one. I know some other people within the marketing team have been discussing possibly doing an extra stream in a couple of weeks. So subscribe, make sure you don't miss anything like that, then it will get emailed to you. And I think there's a couple of other benefits, but basically that's the important bit. Because I think there's some new stuff coming out that might require an extra stream, possibly Thursdays. No promises on that one, and there will be announcements probably on the newsletter as well if there will be. But it's always worth being subscribed so you don't miss something. Because there's announcements this week.
Yes.
Can't say what they are,
but very exciting.
But keep your eyes on the newsletter because it's some very exciting news, and I am very excited.
Subscribe to the Warlord Games newsletter because that is actually the quickest way to find out pretty much anything. And we also have a little feature in it where it tells you kind of roughly what we're
up to.
Yeah, so means you can keep up to date with us if you you care to follow us like that. But yeah, I think this might be our busiest chat we've ever had, isn't it?
Probably, yeah.
Which is
we say that every couple months.
We do. It's great. It's almost like growth.
Well, I think people know we haven't got like a major topic.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people maybe were sitting on questions because they were just listening to us ramble about Mythic America or watching a game happen. Also, I've been seeing a couple comments that happen on like the YouTube and stuff. That's why we're trying this slightly different camera. This is going to stick around. Obviously, if anyone does have any technical kind of feedback, we're always happy to hear it. Probably best to not do it on live chat because it will get lost.
Yeah.
But we're always looking to improve. And looking at where we started, I think we have.
We really have, considering it was originally the webcam off this laptop.
Which is terrible.
And the internal microphone on this laptop. It's started from the bottom, now we're here. So,
from Intelligent Mr. Toad, are there going to be new German releases for the new D-Day books? Maybe.
Probably.
Maybe.
I'd be very surprised if we didn't do new Germans at some point in the future, and some of them will probably line up with the new books.
Yeah, there's there's another things on the D-Day front as well at some point, so at some point, no doubt.
Yes.
Because we like our Germans. They sell quite well.
They do. Mostly because I buy them all and then never paint them.
That's surprising. I didn't see anything really out of sorts in the newest Bolt Action one. Some grumbling that you hadn't unearthed Tiger Fear and so on. No comment.
Yeah.
There was some other stuff.
Yeah, there were a few bits of people that had possibly kind of misinterpreted the intent and missed the point a little bit behind the FAQ. And, just kind of being quite vocally upset because they thought something was happening and it wasn't. We had to kind of step in on our evening off and say, hey guys, this is how it is. But to be honest, we like the game, enough that we'd probably be doing that as non-staffers anyway.
Yeah.
It's honestly, FAQs come out 3-4 times a year normally.
Yeah.
So when we change something, it's not like it's set in stone and it's done forever and there's doom and there's gloom.
Yeah.
If we don't like it and if the community doesn't like it, we can change it.
Mike saying Jeeps for US Airborne, yes or no? I see some people in the chat have already responded. My opinion, yes. I mean, they're really handy. I see Lady Cadence is saying they're handy if you want to move teams around. I love Jeeps for machine guns. They're such a good platform to just whack a machine gun on, put it in an armor car slot and go. They're great.
I really like having them for teams. Kugelwagens.
Kugels, Jeeps,
because you can fit a howling cow in the back of a Kugelwagen. But genuinely, the Kugelwagen coming on from reserve with a flamethrower team in there. That it's a very cheap package to potentially turn the game exactly where you need it.
Yeah.
It's not a huge target like a truck. You can hide it behind stuff, and it's pretty cheap.
50 cal or 30 cal? 30 cal. Some people swear by HMGs. I'm a big MMG proponent.
Weirdly, I'm the other way around. I much prefer HMGs.
Way more expensive though.
Oh god, yeah, much more expensive.
I mean, you get enough value for it. I like something that can just blat infantry.
I like that it has pen value.
It's handy, but it has a pen value. It makes it a higher target for the tank.
This
so.
is true. No, the real tactic is put a 50 cal on your tank.
Yeah, I do that too. Where possible. So yeah, I'm also going to say we're in the last 10 minutes. So if anyone has any off-topic questions, ask away.
Yep.
Anything goes for this this bit. And just going back a little bit because we get asked this every week or two. From W. Do It. A Flyers fan. Yes, we exist. Even in the UK.
See, he started as a Flyers fan. What was it, like 3-4 years ago now?
About 4 years ago.
About 4 years ago when they were
actually.
when they were bad, right?
Yeah, back when Travis Konechny and Provorov first started, so about 2015.
Because that was when your defence was like, who was your
Mark
top
Streit and Ivan Provorov was 18.
Mark Streit was like an alternate.
Yeah.
I on the other hand,
bad team.
I on the other hand am a Red Wings fan and have been for many years, and currently I wish to die. I was really optimistic at the start of this season. I thought, we've had, Bobby Ryan comes in. Bobby Ryan's one of my favourite players. We've bought in Troy Stetcher, Mark Stoll, because sure, we took his contract for a great deal. And I thought, we're going to at least compete more than we competed last year. No. Same old Red Wings.
Yeah. Not David Crockett. Is that the Fife Flyers? No, it's the Philadelphia Flyers.
We're both Nottingham Panthers fans.
Not
for the
Panthers for the UK side of things.
Yeah.
Panthers forever. They're the team that wins the most.
Also,
and they're local.
Also, we both live I'm literally 15 minutes on the tram away from the rink.
But I do have a lot of respect for the Fife Flyers because we watched a game where they were the away team.
They were great.
They had a lot of away fans, and that is so much respect because that's like 400 miles.
Oh god, yeah.
And they were there to party.
They
a lot of respect.
They made a lot of noise.
They were there to party. Like there was like 100 people had made the trip, and they were louder than like 6,000 Nottingham people. We were like, whoa.
Yeah.
Let's go to the pub afterwards and hang out with those guys.
Did we win? Did we win that one?
I can't even remember. It wasn't like a major game. It was just
a league game.
We picked up tickets for like a tenner.
Yeah. That's the best thing with hockey here in the UK is it's so cheap.
Anyway, there's no hockey.
Oh.
Right, actually, there's a couple of questions on it. We do it. I still thank the Red Wings for Brett Hull.
Yeah, give that Stars guy or Blues guy. Or...
I think he said Stars earlier in the chat. Then we got Rice Hill, New York Rangers, and Glasgow Clan for me.
Let's go, Brayhead.
No comment. Yeah, not a big fan of the Rangers, but that's a Flyers thing.
I don't dislike the Rags. They're an original 6 team. It's respectable.
That's not Davy Crockett's probably getting blocked.
Oh.
You have to talk me out of it. I call myself a Bruins fan. Reason when I was in high school, I wanted to impress this older American girl who was an ice hockey player from Boston. So I would stay up late to try and watch ice hockey games on Channel 5 to chat with her. All right, bit of respect there for the grind there.
Yeah, it's
but not the Bruins.
Yeah, it's a noble cause, but you've sullied your honour there, mate.
You're not getting blocked, but
it's a close run thing.
Mm.
A lot of hockey chat tonight. I'm loving it. Haven't had to, mostly because when I message you about hockey, one of us is sad. Normally,
usually you.
Normally, yes. Normally, it's
currently us because our team's caught the plague. But
to be honest, I think the Wings, if we all caught COVID, then there'd be no difference. Great, the Wings turned up.
The taxi squad would be a bit busier, but
they're icing an AHL team.
But anyway, back to real stuff for the wargamey people.
Yes.
But yeah, so my Soviet list, like I say, I'm pretty happy with that one. My only issue is I've gone back down to 10 dice, which I haven't done in ages. But that's still 48 core infantry. No, 44, sorry. 45, there we go. 45 before officers and stuff. But that includes some, I think I've got an anti-tank rifle team in there, or maybe a dog mine, ZIS-3, T-34-85, and it just about squeezes into
1,010.
Exactly 1,000 and 10 dice. So I'm looking forward to getting a game in for that one. So.
Yeah. We got much else knocking around in the chat?
Nothing particular. Any thought on an alternative figures for a game that's not mini source agnostic? Recently discovered Gear Guts. Love his orcs, and it might be an affordable way to dabble in 40k, at least socially. Personally, I'm pretty agnostic on anything.
Yeah.
The club I used to play at, it was if it looks bright and people know what you're talking about, then
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, Workshop are pretty tight about what you can play with at their sites, and that's their thing. That's their hang up. In terms of us, like we'd prefer if you didn't kind of come in and play bolt action in our store with Space Marines. But
again, it comes under as long as it looks right.
Yeah.
Like people have brought in Warlord models.
Yeah.
I may own one or two.
Yeah. You got a bunch of bad Squiddo stuff, haven't you? She's.
I've got some. I've got some.
Have you seen our Soviet pilots?
Yeah, I'm going to.
Night Witches. They're cool as hell.
Good. But yeah, they're. I've got a lot of stuff, and like I say, we're not too fussed as long as it looks the part. Like I say, that classic thing of this can's going to be my tank. I'd get a bit annoyed at that, but as long as it's a proper model, proper effort put in. Yeah, I'm model agnostic.
Yeah, if you're going to proxy a tank, you need to use a cob at least.
Yeah, especially like obviously I see you saying there. I wouldn't do it at a store or a tournament. Just getting a feel for it. Just to talk to your local club as well. Like my old club, totally fine to use whatever. Funnily enough, some people at my old club before I worked here used to use Warlord games to play Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah.
Because the models were cheaper and nicer.
Also, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Why play 40k? Can't play bolt action. It's better.
But yeah, for me, as long as everyone's happy, and literally no reason why not to.
Yeah.
So,
toy soldiers.
Yeah, like the only other game I play a lot of these days is Frostgrave, and I've just picked up some new models that aren't North Star, but I've got a lot of North Star too. So yeah. Use what you want.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of models out there and only so much time to paint them all. So, yeah, use the ones you want.
Do what makes you happy.
Mike's asking, Marcus, did you see the message for him, or from him, for you earlier?
Yes, if that was the one about, oh God, I cannot remember the name of the cruiser that you sent the picture of, and also some updated submarine rules. Is that the right Mike?
I'll tell you when we get a response.
Drum roll.
Nope. Lol.
Oh!
In
that case, Mike, I genuinely haven't seen an email from you, mate.
Mm-hmm.
If you jump in to the inbox and just send us a message that says FAO Marcus, it's me, Mike. Is it Mike 77?
So this is Mike W77. Cruel Seas bits is apparently what he was sending.
Right. In that case,
but I think the other Mike plays Cruel Seas.
He does.
That's the problem. We've got two Mikes
and they
both talk to all the time. Who post Cruel Seas? So apologies again.
So you are solid, Mike. But if you just you're solid, Mike. The other Mike will be liquid, Mike. Less frequently in the chat. If you send just an email just saying, hey, it's me, here's my username, I will give you my personal work email address. I don't want to give it out on stream for obvious reasons. And we can just make sure that we've not lost any emails between us and you've got everything you need and we're all squared away.
So one quick question before one to end on from Intelligent Mr. Toad. So this is Amish. Speaking of sending a bunch of money, how's your factory doing? Because just what I need is even more Soviets, but all four armies do need at least one blister. So we're doing pretty well. There's a couple of delays here and there on one or two things, but everything's working through. So as long as it's on sale, might take a couple of days to prepare, but stuff's moving.
Yep.
So yeah, if there's anything you need, feel free to order it. It should be with you basically normal time frame. And if it's out of stock, we might be able to see what we can do, but no promises. Yeah, Haggard talking about the Baron's War, nothing for high Middle Ages from Warlord. Yeah, it's something we miss as well, being reenacted of the era, but maybe, hopefully,
one day,
someday.
Well, basically, when Studio finally get bored of us badgering.
Mike's saying it was for Cruel Seas bits, and we're saying thanks because you sent it from Sparesies.
I haven't seen that message, Mike. I do remember sending you the bits, so looks like an email might have gone missing there in our spam filter. I'll check that when I'm in tomorrow.
I mean, this is the one I want to end on, so last question. From Intelligent Mr. Toad, if you could have one new plastic box of 30 figures, what would it be?
Okay. Have you got yours or?
Italians.
Italians?
I'd like
what
them
kind of Italians?
Desert? But I think the kit was pretty standard.
Paras? Or regular army?
Oh, regular army.
Oh, yeah.
Regular army with hats are the best. Basically replace our Italian army metal set, or possibly expand on it. I think it's such an obvious slam dunk natural answer. It also tie in really well to my existing desert forces.
Yeah.
I think the community would love it because we get asked that question a lot. And I also think it's a cool thing. I'd probably pick up an army like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, and yeah, there's other cool stuff like lots of Germans, lots of Brits, lots of Americans, and stuff that I play. I think that would be the most useful. Also, personally, I kind of like new Soviet sculpts, but that's also because I've kind of killed the
You've used them
existing two Soviet sculpts to death. But yeah, for me, Italians.
Ooh. I am going to be weird and unpopular here. So,
And David Crockett points out there, it's also good because that means you get an extra, if you do Italians, you also get one set for the Allies and one set for the Axis.
I'm going to be weird and unpopular here. I would like to see some more Germans.
Gebirgsjäger.
No.
Okay.
I would like to see a German box set that is another Windsor German box set, however, with your camo smocks over your greatcoats. I want to see things like Zeltbarns over greatcoats, camo smocks over greatcoats. I want to see more packs, different kinds of packs. A few different varieties of head, perhaps. So you could have Gebirgsjäger heads in there. Possibly some fezzes in there, like we did with the SS. But basically taking, our metal winter Germans with that really cool, strong aesthetic of smock over coat. I want to see that in plastic. Obviously, would not be popular. Well, it would be popular, but wouldn't be the sensible decision because we've already got a really good winter German kit. But that's just me as a late war German player going, give me the toys. I want the toys.
Yeah. I think Italians. Finns would also be quite cool.
Finns would be great.
I actually need to think about it.
Ooh.
Do you know what I'd really like to see?
Drum roll.
This actually might be the Italians, but that's a personal thing.
Yep.
Poles.
Yeah.
Polish. Do early war Polish and here, you could basically do your Polish out of a box. I think that'd be really cool as well. I think Italians is the smart money and probably what I would go for, but Poles is actually really close
Or
second.
French.
And let's
/
bother about
Belgians.
French. Yeah.
And just do, a kit that does the same. I may be doing the Belgians and all the French a huge disservice here, but as I understand it, a lot of the equipment, especially battle dress, was very similar.
Yeah.
Because a lot of European armies were very similar at that point in time. And you could potentially do that, that'd be something that'd be cool to see, or even plastic Hungarians.
Oh,
A
gosh.
minor nation
Yeah.
would be really cool to see.
I think the only problem with Hungarians, they were kind of just late war. If I was
Yeah.
going to do is a minor Axis nation that, Romania would be quite a smart choice because they were in basically every front. But
Yeah.
I'd say we'll call it there.
Yes.
Everyone has the things they want.
Yes.
I think for me, Italians very closely followed by Polish.
For me, give me more German toys.
More German toys. So everyone, that is us for this
Yep.
week. We hope you enjoyed.
Yep.
And have a good week. Stay safe and happy hobbying.
See you later.